Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty fundamental, I think, to both the helping professions and, well, leadership too, consultation.
Yeah, the art and science of it. We've got some great materials, clinical mental health practices, leadership models, and this really interesting article on managerial leadership in counseling settings.
Right, so our mission, basically, is to unpack what consultation really is. What forms does it take? What's the consultant actually do?
And critically, how does all this connect with effective leadership, especially for those guiding teams? We want to give you insights you can hopefully use right away, whether you're the one getting advice, giving it, or, leading.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning then. What is consultation at its core? The word collaboration keeps popping up in the sources.
Exactly. That's the heart of it. It's a partnership, fundamentally, between the consultant and the consultee.
And the goal.
Well, the main aim is always about generating deeper insight, understanding, and ultimately improving the services being delivered, making things better.
Okay. But consultation seems like a big umbrella term. The sources break it down into different types. First up is client-centered case consultation. What does that look like?
So in that one, the consultant's really focused on helping the consultee with a specific client or maybe a group of clients.
It's like if a therapist needs advice on treating, say, clients with personality disorders.
Precisely. Or trauma, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the materials note how much this resembles clinical supervision, where you're also focused tightly on the case.
Okay, that makes sense. Very client-focused. Then there's consultee-centered case consultation. How's that different?
Right, so here the spotlight shifts. It's less about the client specifics and more about the consultee, the person seeking help.
Ah, so looking at their challenges.
Exactly. Helping them figure out what personal or professional roadblocks might be getting in the way when they work with certain kinds of clients. Maybe a counselor feels really stuck or anxious with depressed clients, for instance.
So the consultation would explore their reactions, maybe blind spots or skill gaps.
Yes. What's going on for them that's making it difficult? It's about boosting their effectiveness by addressing their internal stuff or skill needs.
Got it. One's client outcomes, the other's consultee capacity. Useful distinction. Okay, next is program-centered administrative consultation. Sounds more organizational.
It is. This tackles problems with managing or developing specific programs. Think bigger picture, but still program-focused.
Like maybe a school trying to figure out how to better use its counseling staff or improve an intake process.
Exactly that kind of thing. Optimizing a part of the organization services.
And the last one mentioned is consultee-centered administrative consultation, even broader.
Yeah, this one zooms out further. It's looking at the whole organizational dynamic, the system itself.
So not just one program, but maybe leadership issues in the agency or communication breakdowns between departments.
Right, or maybe even diversity issues among the staff. The consultant helps identify those systemic problems and works with the leaders, usually, to find solutions.
So consultation really adapts to the scale of the problem. Now, the consultant themselves, they seem to wear different hats depending on the need.
Oh, absolutely. It's not a one-size-fits-all role. They might be an advocate, pushing for a certain approach or client group.
Or the expert bringing in specific knowledge.
Right. Or a trainer, teaching new skills. Or maybe they're just a fact finder, gathering objective data.
Process specialist, too, guiding the problem solving.
Yes, exactly. Helping the consultee navigate the steps. It's quite versatile.
Like a toolkit.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the process itself? Is there a typical flow, a series of steps?
Well, our sources offer a couple of models. Doherty's is pretty well known. Entry, diagnosis, implementation, and disengagement.
Entry is building rapport, figuring out the problem.
Yeah. Diagnosis is digging deeper. Implementation is, well, doing the thing you decided on.
Okay.
And disengagement is wrapping it up. Pretty logical flow.
Okay. And the other model?
Similar, just slightly expanded. Adds preparing at the start, the consultant getting ready, then joining the initial meeting, assessing, like diagnosis, intervening, like implementation, and termination, same as disengagement.
So both models emphasize it's a structured thing, not just random advice.
Definitely. It's systematic, thoughtful.
What makes it effective consultation, though? What are the key ingredients for success?
Several things stand out. Consultant self-awareness is huge. Knowing your own biases, values, how you come across.
That makes sense. And understanding the consultee.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Their skills, their workplace reality, their view of the problem. You need to get where they're coming from.
What else? Community assessment.
Sometimes, yeah, depending on the issue, understanding the wider context. And ongoing evaluation, checking if things are actually working.
And you mentioned empowerment.
Yes, That's a core principle. The goal isn't to make the consultee dependent. It's to build their own capacity to solve similar problems down the road. Self-sufficiency.
I like that focus. So, what skills does a good consultant need in their back pocket?
Well, first off, a real willingness to collaborate. You have to value the consultee's input.
Not just be the expert swooping in.
Right. They need good research and fact-finding skills too. And being able to see ahead, sort of anticipate outcomes or trends.
Assertiveness seems important too, but balanced.
Yes, assertive enough to offer guidance confidently, but also willing to negotiate. And just general confidence in what they know.
Seems like skill is useful in many areas. Now, the sources had some really practical tips, especially for those case consultations.
Yeah, one I really liked was always ask the consultee what they've already tried.
Ah, good one. Avoid suggesting the obvious or something that failed. Shows respect.
Exactly. It opens up a much better conversation.
What other practical tips stood out?
Keeping everyone in the loop. Stakeholders need to be informed and involved, otherwise trust just erodes.
Communication again.
Always. And, really listening. Gathering as much info as you can, respecting the consultee's expertise and their specific situation. They know their world.
Humility and listening seems key. What about sharing your expertise as the consultant?
It's a balance, right? Share helpful insights, but don't overwhelm or sound dismissive. Be flexible, professional.
And there was that phrase, try it on.
Yeah, try it on, and if it doesn't fit, give it away. Treating solutions like experiments reduces the pressure, encourages adaptation. It's okay if the first idea isn't perfect.
I like that mindset. Fosters learning. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. The link between consultation and leadership, especially in counseling settings, there's a distinction made between clinical supervision and managerial leadership.
A really important one. Clinical supervision is mostly about developing a counselor's treatment skills, their clinical know-how.
Focused on the therapy itself.
Right. Managerial leadership, though, is about guiding a team towards an organizational goal, influencing the group.
So while both need good communication, the job is different.
Precisely. Listening, empathy, rapport, useful everywhere. But managers also do performance reviews, handle compensation talks, deal with performance problems on the team. That's not typically the supervisor's main focus.
And the sources use scenarios to show common leadership mistakes. These are pretty telling. Let's start with Hurried Harry. What went wrong there?
Harry, the new director, jumped in too fast, implemented a big change after talking to only a few people.
Didn't take time to understand the place.
Exactly. Leaders need transition time. You've got to learn the ropes, build trust, understand the history, and critically, he didn't get input from everyone affected. Big mistake. Leads to resentment, no buy-in.
Undermines the whole thing, underscores that involvement point. Okay, what about secret compensation practices with Tina?
Yeah. Tina was a star performer but paid the same as average peers, while a new hire got much more based on years of experience. The problem: lack of transparency.
People didn't understand the pay philosophy.
Right. Whether it's experience, performance, whatever, you have to communicate it clearly and apply it consistently. Otherwise, you kill motivation, especially for your best people. Perceived fairness is huge.
Yeah, that seems like it could really damage morale. Okay, then poor performing Paul. The supervisor's errors.
John, the supervisor, was vague with Paul about the problems, didn't set clear expectations for improvement or mention consequences, then started documenting errors secretly.
Ouch. Not good.
No. Leadership needs clear expectations, ongoing feedback, coaching, trust. No secrets about performance issues. You have to hold people accountable, sure, but after clear communication and a chance to improve.
Directness, honesty, opportunity. Got it. What about June? Unwillingness to make tough decisions.
June was great at getting ideas out there, but she'd only act if everyone agreed. Avoided any disagreement.
So consensus was king, but maybe stalled progress.
Exactly. Participative is good, but leaders sometimes have to navigate conflict and make a call, even without unanimous support. Conflict isn't always bad. It can be productive.
Right. Making the decision is part of the job. Then there's Bill, avoiding conflict. What happened there?
The leader knew Bill had a bad attitude that affected the team, but just worked around him, gave special projects to others instead of addressing Bill directly.
Well, sweeping it under the rug.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Leaders have to address behaviors that hurt the team. Promptly, directly. It's not therapy. It's about work conduct and impact. Avoiding it breeds resentment in others who pick up the slack.
Lets the negativity fester. Okay, relatedly, cultivating a negative work climate with Talbert.
Talbert used staff meetings just to vent his own frustrations. Complain constantly instead of focusing on goals or solutions.
Setting a bad tone from the top.
Exactly. Leaders need to foster some optimism, keep the team focused on moving forward. Just dwelling on problems without problem solving is really demotivating.
Yeah, drains the energy. And finally, botched performance review with Susan.
Susan got blindsided by a negative review because her director hadn't given her any real feedback or discussed goals all year.
No surprises, that seems key for reviews.
Absolutely. Goals and expectations need to be clear from the start, with regular, specific feedback, good and bad, along the way. The formal review should just summarize that ongoing conversation.
So constant communication is vital. It's clear from all of this that leading, especially in counseling, needs more than just clinical skills. What are the big takeaways for leaders?
Well, leaders should actively work on their managerial skills training, mentoring. Regular one-on-ones with staff about goals and progress are essential.
Co-creating performance standards.
Yes, and giving that ongoing feedback. Get staff input before big program changes. Be transparent about compensation.
And address personnel problems quickly and fairly.
Definitely. Don't let things fester. Have clear ways to recognize top performers and create spaces where staff can openly suggest improvements. It's about engagement.
It really does seem to circle back to communication, fairness, and tackling challenges directly. So wrapping up this deep dive, what are the main messages for our listeners?
I think the core things are consultation is this really flexible, collaborative tool with different forms and needed skills. And effective leadership borrows from that collaboration, communication, but also demands specific management actions like clarity, fairness, dealing with tough stuff.
So whether you're the one getting advice, giving it, leading a team, or just working with others, understanding these dynamics can really help you be more effective and maybe feel a bit less overwhelmed by it all.
Absolutely. And maybe something to think about as you reflect on this. Consider those power dynamics inherent in any consultation or leadership role. How can just being aware of them lead to collaborations that are more equitable, more impactful?
And maybe what's one small step you could take, starting now, to apply one of these ideas in your own work? Something concrete to try out.